Well, good afternoon, and thank you again for joining us. I learned something new from every panel and speaker, and that 5G innovation discussion was no exception. But now, I am happy to introduce someone who has worked tirelessly to support broadband access across the country, and that's FCC Commissioner Geoffrey Starks. He has served as a commissioner at the FCC since 2019, and before then, he helped lead the FCC's Enforcement Bureau and served as a senior advisor to the Department of Justice Deputy Attorney General, among other roles. Commissioner Starks has been vocal that broadband access is not just about watching the latest TV shows or connecting with our friends, although we love that too. It's also about connecting people to educational and health resources, to job opportunities, and to many other modern services. Now, Commissioner Starks has advocated for programs and policies to help bring secure wireless connectivity to people across the U.S., including in the hardest to serve rural areas. He is also a proponent for affordable connectivity. He was and remains a champion of the Affordable Connectivity Program. We continue to hope that Congress passes a solution so ACP can once again connect millions of families, including through mobile wireless services. And I'd be remiss if I didn't highlight that the Commissioner is a strong supporter of restoring the FCC's spectrum auction authority. As he's highlighted, this would allow the Commission to free up spectrum for commercial use and help expand access to this vital resource. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Starks to the stage.
Well, thank you, Amy, for that warm introduction. Always glad to be joining you all here in Las Vegas. And at the start here, I'd like to say I want to continue the dialogue that I understood happened yesterday about BEAD. Just kidding, just kidding. No, truly, thank you for the introduction. This conference, of course, brings together some of the brightest minds in the communications and technology sector to discuss the pressing challenges of today and what are clearly the opportunities for tomorrow. And count me first in line. I think that is absolutely vital. We are at an inflection point in mobile network evolution, one that presents enormous potential, very real challenges, but with everyone at this conference in particular, I'm confident we have the right mix of experience, of creativity, and the hard work that we're going to need to continue to push forward. It's an incredibly exciting time in the wireless, as somebody, we hear wireless active right now. Exciting time in wireless communication. The pace of innovation is accelerating even more and rapidly changing the way that our networks operate. That means what we're doing now with 5G will have enormous implications for the future. The trends that are gaining momentum today will eventually represent the cornerstones of networks tomorrow. I'm excited about where we stand. There's never been a time where network evolution has held the greater potential to deliver a more vibrant economy, a more sustainable world, and something I think about every day: better connected communities. That work is well underway. It's needed in order to meet the times and the meteoric growth in wireless and in data traffic that we've experienced over the last few years. You don't have to just take my word for it. CTIA's own 2024 annual wireless industry survey provides that unique snapshot that indicated in 2023 Americans used over 100 trillion megabytes of mobile wireless data, the largest single year-over-year increase for wireless data ever, more data than we used from 2010 to 2018 combined, and nearly double the amount from the prior 2 years. That is explosive growth, staggering growth. And what's more is that it's not expected to slow down anytime soon. Predictions expect that Americans' data use will continue to increase by more than 3 times by 2029. That's, of course, in large part because 5G has become an integral part of daily life for most Americans, changing the way we live, the way we work, the way we play. Shows that in July of 2023, for the first time ever, Americans spent more time watching television on streaming services than they did watching cable TV for the first time. On one of the largest digital music platforms, users averaged 25 hours a month of streaming content. And for many of you who have the deep privilege and honor of being a parent, you know that for our young learners to be connected, they have to do that in order to complete their homework and fulfill what they need for their studies. All of us, of course, have grown accustomed to virtual meetings and how ubiquitous those are now. Just a few examples, of course, but help contextualize the unrelenting growth that we've seen in mobile data traffic. This growth, of course, makes our world better informed, better, of course, in leading more fulfilled lives, more connected lives. It means consumers are taking advantage of the powerful services that our networks are delivering, but it also means that those networks are being tested like never before. As we know, this network strain will continue as IoT devices continue to proliferate, intelligent infrastructure and AI-enabled applications as well. And with 5G, we're seeing early returns on the strategies that will enable us to accommodate the sustained surge in mobile traffic that we're going to need. One major trend that I believe holds immense promise is disaggregation. Decoupling hardware and software functions of network components means that they can be sourced from multiple vendors. We heard the prior panel, of course, talk about O-RAN. With a modular stack, network operators can incorporate products and services that best fit their needs. And they can swap components, make upgrades quickly and nimbly. As network functions jump from hardware to software on disaggregated networks, operators will have more flexibility than ever. Without the constraints of physical equipment, operators will be free to provision resources where they're needed the most, responding to the network's needs in real time. And it's not just that mobile data usage is growing, although it is. The traffic patterns of that data are also changing. Being able to provision resources on the fly will give network operators a new strategy for accommodating changing mobile data demands. Virtualized networks will also be customizable in ways that support tailored services to meet the unique needs of customers. Operators, like many in the room, will have an unprecedented ability to divvy up infrastructure with multiple virtual networks optimized for different use cases, all operating simultaneously. For customers, this will be like getting your own bespoke network to your exact specifications. For operators, it means new ways, of course, to monetize the significant capital investments associated with network infrastructure. Another area of network evolution that goes hand in hand with virtualization is the way that computing power is moving closer to the edge. I want to talk about that for a few minutes. This isn't just about making sure that our networks work smarter. It's also about moving the brain power of our networks closer to where it's needed. With edge compute, data is being processed closer to where it originates. This reduces latency, keeps traffic off of networks, and importantly increases security. Let me unpack those a little bit here. Talking about first the way we're going to reduce latency. I'm excited, of course, at conferences like this that are going to have a focus on generative AI, but it's one of those topics where we would be amiss. We'd be off the mark if we didn't discuss the impact of AI and how the future is going to be incomplete without a discussion of the networks that are going to power it. This is going to be, of course, one of the most exciting use cases in computing, and will deliver the responsiveness that we need to bring AI to life for everyday Americans. As compute migrates to the edge and far edge of networks, the way AI applications are executed will change. Rather than taking data away from the consumer, the end user, transporting it across the network, processing at a centralized data center, distributing compute across the edge will instead meet consumers where they are. And so whether that's an autonomous vehicle, a factory floor, or an AI application, this reduction in latency will enable real-time responsiveness that AI needs in order to thrive. And to be clear, this isn't some far-away vision that you need to squint really hard in order to see. This is happening. Carriers are already deploying new compute power at site aggregation points across their footprints, and radio access networks themselves are increasingly hosting intelligence infrastructure. For data that requires immediate action, intelligent RANs can process and return that data to the user without penetrating any further than the network's edge. This doesn't just mean lower latency for consumers. By keeping that certain data localized at the edge, we'll also be keeping data, as I mentioned, off other parts of the networks. In the context of this explosive amount of data and usage that I've been talking about, this is a critical way that networks will be able to be more nimble, stay a step ahead. Which brings me to the second point and benefit of edge compute. As data consumption continues to surge, network management is going to become even more important. We'll need to find new ways to manage the proliferation of data-intensive AI applications in particular, and I don't expect that this trend will slow down anytime soon. So how is it that edge compute can help? By processing data at the edge, returning it directly to the consumer, compute is limiting AI-driven traffic from traversing all the way back to the cloud, clogging up networks. And so this will free up network resources to be managed elsewhere, allowing that better triaging of data that will be critical. Carriers can allocate network resources with more flexibility, responding in real time to the needs. And let's not overlook, of course, that handling this locally means that that data will be more secure. That is absolutely critical in today's age. This summer, I had the opportunity to visit a 5G factory floor. This was a factory producing some of the most cutting 5G equipment that's powering our networks today. I wasn't just captivated by what they're making and how that's going to help further the implementation of 5G. I was really impressed by how they're making it. This 5G smart factory floor was also a test bed itself, displaying and demonstrating how AI-informed connected factory floors will work and evolve. I saw tools, automated screwdrivers, thermal putty dispensers, all connected to 5G. AI tools that were detecting irregularities on in-progress radio boards, all of it continuously improving day by day, week by week, month by month on the road to advanced manufacturing. So where is edge compute coming into play? As more and more factories adopt systems like this 5G smart factory, I expect they'll be leveraging AI to improve their outputs. Much of this technology, no doubt, can be kept in-house, developed in-house for those highly sensitive use cases it was in this factory floor. But by processing the data right at the site where it's gathered, this valuable information can be localized, minimizing the risk inherent in otherwise transporting it across the networks over public cloud. Smart factories are a great example, but you don't have to be a telecom expert to see how this is going to reverberate throughout the systems and how valuable it's going to be. Financial institutions, healthcare, all handling AI applications with sensitive data, and all will be relying in some way on edge compute. So let me spend another minute here on what I view as my vision of wireless technology that will incorporate artificial intelligence with a fully merged mobile and cloud system. Critically, This will allow for tremendous increases in efficiency, making networks better stewards of limited resources. One area in particular that I think holds tremendous potential in leveraging AI and machine learning to improve, continuously improve, I think, is spectrum management. Network operators can translate radio frequency data into better and more dynamic frequency allocations, from dramatically selecting bands to intelligence beamforming. I think AI-powered networks are going to be part of the future of increasing efficiency and making our networks perform better than ever. There's so much more that we need to explore, of course, together here. Just last year, my colleagues and I voted to launch an inquiry designed to advance the Commission's understanding of how new technologies like AI might facilitate more effective spectrum usage. I hope that we heard from you all in the room, and if not, now's the time. But we really need a clear-eyed understanding, my colleagues and I, on the feasibility, what the limitations, what the opportunities are going to be of these emerging technologies, and how it can help benefit Americans. I'm also excited about the potential for AI and machine learning to boost cybersecurity. If any of you have been following the news, the Salt typhoon and a number of the cybersecurity issues that we've been seeing are incredibly real and relevant. Global cyber attacks are growing more frequent and alarmingly with increased sophistication. We need to modernize our defenses, of course. I think machine learning, in the need to analyze advanced telemetry data, AI will help be able to detect anomalies that might otherwise be an early warning before widespread networks have impact. And we've seen that, of course, over the year as well. Intelligence networks can and will be able to adapt themselves swiftly and hopefully remediate threats. Not only do I expect that these innovations will help support a more efficient and reliable networks, there are also areas of relative U.S. strength. I think about the U.S. economy and how it's developing. For the United States to remain on the vanguard of innovation, we must continue reinforcing our global status as a pace setter with software, with AI, with the cloud. As I said, these are real opportunities, but they come with real challenges as well. The new intelligent functions will require a massive amount of increased energy in order to power them. And so what do we need to do to ensure that our advanced networks are assets rather than liabilities in our vision for a more sustainable future? The 5G vision that I laid out here in Mobile World Congress back in 2019 as I was preparing and revisiting that, I think is even more real today. I said then that advanced networks can and should, quote, maximize energy efficiency and minimize environmental impact on a national, local, and individual level, close quote. And I think that fundamental challenge is still as real now as it was then, which is how are we going to have our networks, how are we going to do more, deploy more, utilize more, while using less? And on this front, I think we have the potential to increase our energy efficiency, reduce emissions in areas like manufacturing, agriculture, transportation. All of this is going to be helped and continually facilitated with 5G. We simply cannot take this for granted. It is time for us to continue to do this hard work. In 2020, the information and communication technology sector was responsible for 4% of global energy consumption, approximately 1.4% of global greenhouse gases. I see real promise in the new strategies that will make our wireless future more energy efficient and more for generations now and generations yet to come, utilizing microsleep techniques. Networks can deactivate and reactivate during periods of low latency, conserving energy without impacting the user experience. By implementing new waveform designs, networks will be able to adapt more efficiently and effectively at different frequency bands, enhancing spectral efficiency and reducing unnecessary energy expenditures. dynamic adjustments in the number of active antennae in response to fluctuating traffic loads, allowing for a tailored resource allocation based on actual demand. And of course, all of these techniques could be applied across multiple networks simultaneously through network slicing, something that I no doubt you have heard a lot about over the course of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Namely, each network slice could be optimized for specific services while minimizing energy consumption based on the real-time demands. Boosting network energy efficiency isn't just good for sustainability. It's good for operators themselves. Increasing the efficiency of networks, drive down operational costs, free up additional resources that can be reinvested into the networks themselves as they improve, of course, the consumer experience and also connect more Americans. We can't expect to achieve this collective vision, of course, if we're not providing the spectrum that they need to operate. And on that front, we have a very real and present challenge, as everyone here knows. And let me be the latest. Many of you know I'm from Kansas City, so let me spike the football here on this one. The FCC has been without spectrum auction authority since March 9th of 2023. We heard from Meredith with a powerful advocacy at the start of the conference here in the video. This authority is not just foundational to the agency, it is foundational to our nation. The Commission's auction authority drives innovation, enhances competition, strengthens our national security. Put plainly, auctions, of course, help us free up spectrum and put it into the hands of those who value it the most. Auctions are a critical part of a broader strategy driving advancement in wireless communications. They support better networks and greater innovation in chips, in devices, in connected applications. And so I'm committed, of course, to continuing to work with everyone, those on the Hill, those here, who want to help us see the way to get this vital authority back as soon as possible. While it can feel dire, count me on the side of those who remain optimistic that we're going to get something done here. But we've got to keep raising this issue. Another issue I want to touch on, of course, that is both a deep passion of mine, but also something that is a real challenge right now, as you heard, is the issue of affordability. It continues to be a major barrier to adoption, now more so than ever. And on this front, I can't overstate the importance that I have seen, both while the program was going and even more acutely now that the program has ended, of the Affordable Connectivity Program. For the millions of American households that relied on the program, it offered them a critical opportunity to get and stay connected. I'll forever think about Paul, a senior citizen who I met in Lake County, Illinois, who told me that his internet connection through ACP was like air. And that's truly the reality of how vital broadband is today. ACP, I view, full stop, as the most effective program that we've had in helping low-income Americans get connected, staying connected. And in fact, in my opinion, it is the most successful program we've ever had in our decades-long bipartisan effort to solve the digital divide. We've made progress through ACP. We cannot afford to slide backwards. So I'm ready, of course, to work with Congress to refund this absolutely critical program. So let me close. There's clearly a lot of work ahead of us. I'm always eager to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in helping to get that work done. We're going to continue to make progress. Starts today at this conference and moving forward. But I want to extend, of course, an offer for you all to come see me. As many of you know, I see many friends in the room. I'm an open door commissioner. I view that as part of my job and my role here, eager to hear about the issues that are important to you, how we can work together, and the expertise that you all bring, wherever you are in this ecosystem and pushing our networks into our shared future. With that, thank you to CTIA for hosting me with this invitation. I look forward to seeing you all and look forward to catching you down the road. Thank you.